Hello everybody, today I am in the Angeles National Forest and I'm going to do what normally is a day hike for me, and I'm going to add an overnight option. It's the Switzer Falls hike, and it's one of the most popular hikes in all of Southern California because there's a waterfall there. But there's also a trail camp a little bit further down the canyon that I've never been to and I wanted to check out, so might as well vlog it at the same time. So right now I'm at the Switzer Falls Trailhead. I'm at the lower lot, which you can see around me has all these picnic tables, a couple barbecues. The road leading down here is not always open, so there is an upper lot by the Angels Crest Highway. Just FYI, if you ever come here, know that that road leading down here might be closed. You can still hike, but you have to add an extra half mile to your day. Mile total if you're going back up. So I'm ready to go, so I'm just going to grab my stuff and head down the trail. Alright, so down at the lower lot you can see these stairs leading up. That's leading up to the road that takes you down here that you're going to have to walk if that gate is closed. But otherwise this trailhead has several pit toilets. I just accessed one, it was clean, it had toilet paper, so that's good. And then tons of picnic tables, and then right where you come down from the upper road, which is here, you have the trailhead right here. And you can see to Switzer Falls itself is 2 miles. It's not on here, but the camp I'm going to is the Bear Canyon Trail Camp, and that's about another little over a mile. So one of the reasons I wanted to do this today is because there is water here. Southern California is arid. This area is day use only, but you can hike to the trail camp. Southern California is arid, so a lot of times you do not see this. But about a little over a week ago, we had an atmospheric river come through, dropped a whole lot of water onto the area, and then today the Santa Ana winds hit, which bring wind gusts, but they also bring warm weather. So should be getting some snow melt from that, which means it might actually be a decent waterfall today. It's not always decent, a lot of times it's trickle. Again, arid Southern California, but it's a waterfall. So heading on down, more picnic tables and more pit toilets. Literally a couple steps after I stopped my phone, here's a sign I wanted to point out. It says Gabrielino. This is actually part of the Gabrielino Trail. A couple years back I hiked the Gabrielino Trail. I've got I think like 2 videos dedicated to that. 2? Yeah, 2. And so all this was part of the trail I hiked. The spur down to the waterfall is where I actually lead the Gabrielino Trail. And Gabrielino Trail was closed for the longest time because of fire damage. Then it was reconstructed by the mountain biking community, and now the other section is still closed because of the Bobcat fire. So it might be a couple more years before you can fully hike the Gabrielino Trail again, depending on what they do down in Santa Anita Canyon. But continuing on, I'm actually headed towards a historic camp. This is the area that was utilized during the Great Age of Hiking or whatever it is in LA, and that's when late 1800s to 1930s. Oh, there's actually water crossings already. This is a lot of water for here. But hiking was kind of trendy and fashionable for all the LA citizens at the time, and there are a whole bunch of hike-in only resorts and camps in this area of the mountain. So I'm going to be passing through one of the earliest ones. Alright, coming up on the first water crossing, there was a kind of an optional water crossing that's not usually there, just a couple steps back. This area has way more water than it usually does. I was fully expecting to get my feet wet on this trip because of the unusual amount of water, but I might be able to rock out this. Coming up on a ruin here, it looks like it was maybe part of an old road. I'm assuming there was a road that went all the way down to the old camp. Not originally. Originally it was founded in like 1884 by a guy named Commodore Switzer, and you had to pack or hike all the way in here from basically from the metropolitan area, not LA, but like the foothill areas. But when you got here, somebody would cook you a nice hot meal. That sounds pretty awesome. Later, there's a road that you could access this place, and it became more of a resort and had like tennis courts and such. And according to the internet, some celebrities stayed here. Most people name Shirley Temple and Clark Gable, but that place no longer exists. I think there was a fire or flood or something. That doesn't exist. There's just some ruins if you look very carefully. And looks like I got across again. No need to try to tiptoe this. I'm just gonna charge through. Might as well film while I'm doing it. Just find the shallowest parts. Excuse the cinematography for a second. Okay. So just charging through. This is so much deeper than it usually is. But I'm not gonna spend my time trying to figure out the best way is not to get my feet wet. My balance isn't super great right now, and that's not deep. So heading further down, should hit the old site of the camp / resort soon. Okay, I think this is actually the site of the original camp. There's some stoves here. I know the Boy Scouts took over this area. Oh, here's a wall. And then another wall up here. Boy Scouts took over this area, I think in the 60s, and used it for camping. But yeah, I think this is the site of the original camp / resort, and the resort owners named their resort after Commodore Switzer, calling it Switzerland. Ha ha. Sign says Switzer Falls this way. I think this is the last water crossing until I get down to the waterfall. Should be going up and getting some canyon views and maybe some Santa Ana wind gusts. We will see what happens. Oh, here we go. We got a nice overview of the falls. Looks like there's actually falls today. And that's right underneath the chapel ruins. You can see it right here. That was probably an awesome chapel at one point, overlooking the falls and overlooking the canyon. Alright, so I gotta make my way further down this way and then down and back. It's kind of like a backtrack to get to the actual falls themselves. And turn the corner and look at these amazing views. Oh, the San Gabriels. Oh, they're so pretty. Oh, you know what? This is the spur. So this trail up here, that's the Gabrielino trail, but this is the spur down to the waterfall. So heading down. This is a little steep. If you have trouble with steep stuff, bring poles. I've got poles because I'm backpacking anyway. And there they are. There's a Santa Ana wind gust. Still getting them in the canyon. That was kind of a baby gust. They get way worse than that. But hopefully the canyon will, way down in the canyon, will be sheltered from this. Right behind me you can see is the trail, the drop. So down at the bottom to the right, Bear Canyon. Turn this way. And here's the spur to the falls. So I'm gonna go take a quick look at the falls and then head towards Bear Canyon. And coming up on the waterfall. That's an actual waterfall today and not a sad excuse for a waterfall. Got a wide view. So far Bear Canyon is really cute. It's just more of that canyon, kind of narrow, following a little creek. But right now we got the soft light on the walls at points. I just did a water crossing. I think I've done like 3 so far. The nice thing about these canyons is they are shaded and there's water. But this is winter, so there's not a whole lot of daylight. Let me go to a normal zoom. Not a whole lot of daylight to work with. Good thing this is a short hike. Okay, wide shot again. This is the confluence of the Arroyo Seco, which you can see is kind of going to the left here, and Bear Creek that's coming out and joining it. So I'm going to continue up Bear Creek, and there's been these tiny waterfalls all over the place. You get around this tree. There's a couple in front of me. Lots of bonus waterfalls on this hike. There you Oh good, there's a sign that says trail. Definitely in some of these sections this isn't so bad, but like some of these sections this is pretty wild. Doesn't even look like there's a trail. Sometimes the trail is washed out from a wall. I'm not really sure where some of those water crossings are supposed to take place. And I understand there's not usually this much water, but water crossings have been harder because they've been narrower, deeper, and swifter. And I come to a pretty easy water crossing when I say that. But good to know that I'm on the right trail. Wow. Wow, I'm here. That's a picnic table. And still before sunset. Let me turn around. See those peaks? Those are sunset peaks. Whew, that was a little bit more gnarly than I had been expecting. I kind of planned this trip based on distance and nothing else. So there should be 3 campsites here. Looks like there's some flat tenting areas there. Picnic table here. Flat stove. All right. I was about to say, I don't know how they got these picnic tables in, but they look a little worse for wear. That was a little bit gnarly getting in here. Okay, so I'm gonna walk around here and see what the best spot is to set up. Okay, and this is the site I picked. It's got a stove, it's got a little fire pit with a grill, it's got a working picnic table, and there's a little spot back there for my tent, and best of all, it overlooks Bear Creek right here. So I've got that nice roar of the creek to go to sleep. So like I said, should be a nice, relaxing, quiet night. And tomorrow I'll try to show some more of those obstacles in between here and the confluence that kind of tripped me up a little bit, since I will be mentally prepared for them in the morning. Alright, so it is the next morning. I am a little bit away from camp. I already crossed a couple of beach feet wet water crossings. They try to tiptoe crossing because it's the beginning of the day, but on this section of trail, you just have to resign yourself to plowing through. So, since I'm on this nice dry stretch, the things I'm gonna try to highlight that kind of tripped me up yesterday are it's just innumerable water crossings, and the water crossings are narrower, which means they're deeper and swifter, and there's actually like pools. This section is filled with all sorts of mini waterfalls, and then there's also some scrambling over debris, some that have created genuine dams so you have to climb over, and there's some slick rock to try and get down them to down to the water crossings and on trail. So, since this video is probably longer than I anticipated for a short hike, I'm going to just try to highlight some examples of those quickly as I come across them. Okay, example number 1, doing a wide shot for this one. This is obviously a water crossing. You would think you would just cross over here, which isn't a big deal, but that's not what's going on. I don't know if you can see the trail goes straight back in to this drainage, and there you have a whole bunch of trees you got to climb across. So I don't remember how I got up here. I'm going to put the phone away while I'm picking my way across this, but this is a little bit more challenging than I had envisioned when I started this trip. And just as a note, in the dry season you might not have to pick your way across the logs, but right here we got a slick waterfall on the other side of them. So my only option, and I see footprints from the people who've done it, is going up and over these logs. Another example just came from here on the trail. The next part of the trail is up there, but there is this slick rock, and you could probably climb up over there, but the water chute right here is actually a little deep. So I came down stepping over that rock, which is really slick. So I guess I'm going to try to do that again. Here's another example. The trail is coming down here into that. Got a couple of waterfalls, a couple of relatively deep pools, and the trail is closer. It's kind of between these boulders here, straight across, but it does require going down this slick rock and into kind of a divot created by this little waterfall here. So past the confluence of the Arroyo Seco and the Bear Creek waterfalls get really cute, and they're really cute simply because you're not walking through them. But crossings, there's still going to be a million of them, and it's still probably going to get your feet wet, but less traumatic crossings and lots of cute little waterfalls, and starting to get some sun. I want it to hit down here in the canyon because my feet are cold. One last look at Switzer Falls, the main draw in the area, especially since it has water today. Gorgeous. And heading back out that spur and then up and out. Across to the bridge, the end of the trail, dropping me out at that lower parking lot. That is it for the Bear Canyon Switzer Falls trip. It was a little bit more adventurous than I thought it would be, especially towards Bear Canyon, the trail camp itself. I definitely would check out Switzer Falls after a rainstorm. Bear Canyon you might want to consider a little bit, whether you want to do it or not. I'm sure that hike is actually a lot better when there's less water. But if you're up for adventure, go for it. Just know you're going to have icy feet and it's going to take a while. So that's it, and hopefully I can get to another hike soon.